What's up, Cougs? I am your host, Noah Bolter, aka DJ Squabble of Unorthodox Sports, where we show you what the others cannot. We are broadcasting live on YouTube at KUGR's YouTube page, and we're going to broadcast this later on the radio station on KUGR's airways. Super excited to get into it. We have a majorly exciting show to get into today. It is Election Day, amongst other things. Very important things going on in the world today, possibly the most important election of our lives. So if you would please hit that subscribe button and show us some love here on this YouTube channel. We're working hard for you guys. As soon as it's done, we're going to go watch the rest of the election. But throughout the show, we will have our residential election expert, Aaron Monson, to update us on what's going on. And that is a perfect segue to introduce the fine gentleman that will be doing the show with me today. And we'll start with the man that's already halfway introduced, Aaron Monson himself. Aaron, great to have you on the show.
What's up, Squabbo? It's great to be here, and I can't wait for another great show with you both today. You guys both look fantastic, just as usual.
You already know. White Shaq, his nickname. And on my left shoulder, Mr. Asher Lind. Asher, the fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who remain the final undefeated team in the NFL. Asher, we got to let you enjoy this moment, man. Congratulations on a huge divisional win this week.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. It was closer than I'd have liked it to be, but they're undefeated. Can't say the same for my fantasy team. I unfortunately suffered an L in that category. Yep. I had Nelson Aguilar as a starter, and he gave me a good old goose egg, and that wasn't great. But we will bounce back. Hopefully Michael Thomas is going to get back onto the field. Hopefully I got DeAndre Hopkins coming off a bye. We'll get back into winning shape here soon.
No question about it, man. Definitely one of the best runners of a fantasy team I have ever met. So First things first, last week during our show, when we were live on KUGR's YouTube channel, the MLB Game 6 of the World Series was being played. We did not yet know the outcome. A couple of us thought the Tampa Bay Rays might still have a chance in the series. We all believe there was a chance, to be fair, but the Dodgers ended up getting it done in 6. There was a very controversial benching of Blake Snell in the 5th inning when he was hot, only 2 hits on the day to that point. The thinking going into it, Mookie Betts was up to bat soon, and he had already played against Snell twice. And according to the manager of the Rays, analytics told him that facing Mookie Betts a third time wasn't a good idea, but a lot of the analytics I've seen have said otherwise. Let's go to our residential baseball expert, Aaron Monson, and get his thoughts. What were your thoughts on how the World Series ended and the benching of Blake Snell?
I mean, it wasn't a shock to see the Dodgers end up winning the World Series just because they're an actual powerhouse of a team with the entire, with Mookie Betts, Corey Seager, Justin Turner, Max Muncy, Cody Bellinger, AJ Pollock. All of those guys are just off the charts good at baseball, right? And, I mean, it just wasn't surprising to see them win that. I mean, Corey Seager hit 400 in the postseason, right? 400 batting average is insane. And on pulling Blake Snell, I came up with a little rhyme just a few minutes ago about this, and it goes like this. Why in the hell would you pull Blake Snell? That was it. That's all I got for you. But he had 2 hits that entire game. Thank you, Asher. I appreciate that. I appreciate something. And, I mean, I guess pitching against Mookie is scary, but when you only have 2 hits in the, Game 6 of the World Series where you have to win or you're going home, it was frustrating to watch because he was doing so good. But it's whatever, I guess. I mean, I'm over it. I wanted to see Mike Zunino get a ring, but it just makes me sad. That's basically it.
Asher, let's go to you. What were your thoughts, your takeaways from how the World Series ended?
I'm kind of with you guys. I was a bit upset that the Dodgers won, but it's kind of cool because I'm a Clayton Kershaw fan. It was cool to see him get his ring because a lot of people have been nagging on him. Like, oh yeah, postseason Clayton Kershaw is nowhere near as good as regular season. Now he can finally say he has that ring. That's about all he was missing. He has the Golden Glove, Cy Young, MVP, what have you. He was finally getting that ring, chasing that ring, and now he has it. But the Snell benching, I thought, yeah, I'm kind of with everyone else on that. That was a little surprising. I know baseball is trying to turn towards analytics, like more and more, and I think of sports in general as time goes on and we get this technology and like Android AI, whatever it is, telling you, hey, this isn't what we should be doing. But the next three batters he was facing was Betts, Seager, and Turner, I believe, and they were a combined 0 for 6 up to that point. Like Snell was absolutely dealing, and he had a handful of strikeouts. He got benched after he allowed the second hit of the game. I mean, the analytics might have said to pull him, but we all saw what happened after he got pulled, and I didn't agree with it personally, but that's in the past.
Uproar from fans, uproar from baseball advocates everywhere just watching that benching. A lot of question marks about that decision, but congratulations to the Dodgers on a World Series victory. Let's shift now. Let's talk about the NFL. The Seattle Seahawks. Man, we're going to start right there. Aaron, I love the look on your face. Asher, not quite as excited, but he will be for our next topic. But for now, let's celebrate the Seahawks' victory dominantly over the San Francisco 49ers. A victory where they started out up 27-7 in that ball game before giving up a bit of a comeback. It ended up being 37-27. Never got too close for Seahawks fans. But let's go to Aaron first. Aaron, I want to get your reaction to a dominant Seahawks victory this past week against our division rival.
Yeah, it was a nice change of pace from having a heart attack during every single Seahawks game, because right off the bat we were dominant and we literally just kept on powering through, and it was just nice to see us get an easy win against the Niners, even though Russell Wilson threw for 261, which is like average for him. Like it's nothing like normal. It's like a little bit less than what he normally throws, I feel like. And DJ Dallas is only 41 yards. Scared me a little bit. I really miss Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde. Like those guys, I didn't realize how much I would miss them until they were both gone. Because like DJ Dallas, being the third string that he is, he had double the amount of yards that Russell Wilson had at rushing, and Russell Wilson had a third of the amount of carries DJ Dallas had. I feel like the numbers there should just be exponentially more than what they are, or what they were in this game. And DK going off is always great. 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's just, I love seeing DK catching all those balls, and he's so fast and so good. He can outrun almost anybody on the field, and it's just fun to watch him. Along with Tyler Lockett having an average game, 33 yards with only 4 receptions. It's kind of sad, but like I've said before, when somebody's doubling up Tyler Lockett, you have DK open. So it's just one or the other, and you can't really stop that Seattle wide receivers. Jimmy Garoppolo getting out of the game too was kind of important as well, I feel like, because without him, I think it would have been a little bit closer of a game.
No question about it. I was really impressed with Seattle for a multitude of reasons. One of the main reasons was heading into this game. Not only are we coming off our first loss of the regular season, we're also without many of our key players, and it was almost shocking how many players Seattle was without in this ball game. Jamal Adams didn't play, Mike Iupati didn't play, Chris Carson, Carlos Hyde. We had a lot of players unavailable for Seattle, and yet we still were able to win in dominant fashion. That shows what Seattle is capable of down the stretch here. Some of the notable performances: Bobby Wagner, 2 sacks on the game. DJ Reed with a pick and 6 tackles, coming out of nowhere, having an instant impact, almost got himself a sack as well. Seattle's defense really stepped up to the plate in this ball game. Offensively, DK was incredible. Russell Wilson was incredible, coming off his first 3 interception performance in a long time, and coming out with 4 touchdowns and no picks. Now 26 touchdowns on the year through his first 7 games. That is second all-time to Tom Brady in 2007 when he had 27. So Russell Wilson's on pace ahead of Peyton Manning's 55 touchdown season in 2013. Russell Wilson's on pace to have a better season in terms of touchdown numbers. Knock on wood. Let's just see how this plays out. But Russell Wilson's playing phenomenally right now. Let's get a perspective from a little bit more biased point of view. Asher, let's go to you.
I would consider it more unbiased, but that's all right. That's a matter of opinion. That's a matter of opinion, isn't it?
Terminology not doing me well today.
Yeah, I agree with Aaron on a lot of his points. Granted, it can't have 200 yards and 3 touchdowns from Tyler Lockett every single game. That's just NFL. Yeah, right. But I think that just speaks to how lethal him and DK are. If Tyler is coming off that game, I bet San Francisco studied a lot of that, took a lot of film time and spent it on Tyler Lockett. He was like, okay, we're going to make sure he does not get 200 yards and 3 touchdowns again against us. So what does that do? That opens up DK Metcalf on the opposite side for him to get 160 and 2 touchdowns. That his first catch to end the first quarter on the touchdown, there were probably 3 defenders chasing DK Metcalf. He was running off to the right, and he somehow, because he's so fast, he just caught the corner and just ran it all the way in. And it's just unbelievable every single time I watch him. I'm starting to think he's either, I want to say top 3 receiver, and I'm sure you guys could agree with that because you guys love Seattle. He's playing like an all-star right now, and there's nothing else that can convince me otherwise. With a quarterback like Russ and just all the stats that he's been putting up in the last few weeks, he's definitely growing leaps and bounds. Russ got back to cooking. Like you said, Aaron, those four touchdowns and no picks is pretty. I think that's what we expect of Russell Wilson.
At this point, it kind of is, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like that's kind of what we expect for Russell Wilson. And granted, he's first. He leads the league in touchdowns. He has the best passer rating, and the MVP train's back on the tracks. I think after their unfortunate loss to Arizona, but their offense has been looking really good, and their defense is starting to pick up. Jamal Adams, etc. Everyone's starting to get a little healthier. I think they're looking good.
Yeah. Okay. I have one more thing to add. Like if DK keeps doing what he's doing, he's got potential to be, I feel like, one of the best wide receivers in Seattle history. Like if this continues year after year, I feel like just because I feel like he's a better wide receiver than almost anybody that we've seen in Seattle in like a long time. Even on the Super Bowl team, you never had anybody that can do what DK does today, right?
So, yeah, I would definitely agree with that because you get all the comparisons. We all say he's the next Calvin Johnson. They have the exact same build, exact same capabilities, and I would agree with you. And something I want to add to the numbers you're talking about in the stat book, they might not be as much as you'd like, but DJ Dallas had 2 touchdowns on the day. So even though he didn't, he caught a pass and then ran for another one. So even though he didn't get a whole lot of yards, they're still able to find the end zone.
Right, and I guess that's the important part. Yeah.
What I would say with DK Metcalf, there's no question about it. He is going to be one of the best receivers in Seahawks history if he continues on this pace. The question is, how great will he be in NFL history compared to all receivers in NFL history? Because he's faster than Calvin Johnson, and he has the size and the frame of Calvin Johnson. And at such a young age, his second year in the NFL, he's in the debate for best wide receiver in the NFL as of right now. And anyone who doesn't acknowledge that is blind. DK Metcalf has been a force, catching deep touchdowns on the former Defensive Player of the Year from last year with Stephon Gilmore. 22-mile-per-hour chase down of Buda Baker, 90-yard play. DK is a freak of nature.
Highlight of the year for Seattle.
That 50-yard touchdown when Russell Wilson just dumped it off to him and he just outruns everyone. And Pete Carroll said he knew DK wasn't gonna get caught. DK is underrated for that sense.
So DK ran a 4.33 yard 40-yard dash. Calvin Johnson, he ran a 4.35. That's crazy to me. And Calvin Johnson was an inch bigger, and 5 or 10 pounds heavier than DK? Because DK is 6'4", 230. Is that what he is?
230. Right, 230 is very. He's more like 240, 250.
He's more 240. Okay,
240. I would say.
So then, I guess the only difference in their size was an inch, and Johnson was because Calvin Johnson Jr. was 6'5". So I guess they basically are almost the exact same player. So
almost. Even when you compare 40 times, they're really close. But on the field, just watching DK is faster than Calvin Johnson. The eye test tells you that. Yeah. And there's a difference between straight line speed for a 40-yard dash and on the field speed. And it's very different.
Running routes. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
And coming from the opposite side of the field too to make up those 10 or 15 yards to track Buda Baker down too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
True.
And just not giving up on the play. There was a Calvin Johnson rule. One day there will be a DK Metcalf rule. Let's be clear about that.
Let's hope, man.
At some point. But just an incredible win. I thought DeMontre Moore, I remember writing down on my notes, it was funny, DeMontre Moore has an outstanding breakout performance. And then DeMontre Moore gets suspended for performance-enhancing drugs. And I'm just like, oh, that explains it.
Unfortunate, yeah.
But our pass rush, let's look back at some of our keys for last week. Last week I was saying our pass rush needs to be better. Our penalties need to be more under control. And no more law passes on underneath routes for my keys to the game. And we won the turnover battle. We were getting pressure on the quarterback. 3 sacks. We got a pick. We won the turnover battle. And our pass rush was no question better. Russell Wilson was a lot cleaner offensively. I didn't see a lot of passes on underneath routes. And our penalties, we had 2 fewer penalties for like 50 fewer yards. So, and they checked all the boxes in that victory, and it showed how dominant Seattle can be.
To be fair, it's a little bit less of a worrisome game than playing against the Cardinals, whereas the Niners aren't doing as well as the Cardinals are, and like statistically, like their defense and offense are both ranked lower than the Cardinals were. But I mean, it did show that I feel like that we still have it, even after that choke of a game against the Cardinals, that the Seahawks are still a dominant team in NFL, and that we can still continue to win.
Aaron, you're a Seahawks fan, man. Don't take away from the San Francisco 49ers. This is the defending... No. Let me speak. This is the defending NFC champions. This is a team that just beat the Los Angeles Rams, who we're saying is a contender for the division, and when hot can be phenomenal. Went to the Super Bowl just 2 years ago. And then this team just last week blows out Bill Belichick, the greatest coach of all time, 33-6 in his house.
Greatest coach of all time, as in football or as in
football?
Ever?
Football.
Okay, good.
That's a whole other conversation.
I have a completely different answer for that conversation, but you're right. I'm just saying we shouldn't take it with. It should be taken with a grain of salt, if that makes sense.
Without Jamal Adams and Carlos Dunlap, who are going to be our 1 and 2 best pass rushers when they're on the field together.
Are they going to be back next week?
Jamal Adams very well might be. Carlos Dunlap has a chance.
Oh, because Carlos Dunlap has to go through the COVID testing, right?
Yes.
Is that why he's not
regulations?
Okay.
That's also why we didn't wait for the trade deadline to trade for him.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, it's a really good sign moving forward for Seattle. I thought it was a dominant victory against a really good team, and that the San Francisco 49ers have slipped up during a couple of games. Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't played phenomenal, but our defense stepped up in that game. Nick Mullins came in and tore our stuff up, but we were in prevent, and we do that every game. So that's, it's to be expected a little bit. Let's shift now and let's talk about what Seattle needs to do at Buffalo this week. It's a very, very good matchup between 2 6-win teams. Seattle 6-1, Buffalo 6-2. One of the most important things for me in this game with how Buffalo plays, Buffalo's a team, they're front runners to me. They're like the Green Bay Packers. When they fall behind, they struggle, they can't get back in the game. Sometimes even when they're in the lead, Josh Allen in the playoffs last year, you see how, as momentum starts to shift away from him, he struggles to get it back. And that's one of those things, kind of like Lamar Jackson, at some point in his career, he's going to have to overcome. And I'm yet to see him overcome it. So what I want to see Seattle do in this game, my first key to the victory, get the lead early on in this ball game. Let's start getting those demons in Josh Allen's head. Remember when he got blown out by the Tennessee Titans? That game started ugly and ended ugly. Let's get the lead and let's control this team. Let's make them one-dimensional offensively while we stay two-dimensional offensively. And that leads to my second key, offensive versatility in this ball game. Buffalo's defense is pretty solid in the pass game, but surprisingly pretty weak in the run game. In the rushing attack, ranked 28th in rushing yards and touchdowns allowed so far this season. That tells me that if Chris Carson is back this week, like I believe he is going to be, Seattle needs to pound the ball down their throat, and you allow Seattle to do that by having that lead and by allowing Seattle to do whatever we want to do offensively, by not having to, not spend time on offense by trailing in a ball game. last week our pass rushers were able to be so successful because of the fact that we had the lead in the ball game, and we kind of knew what they were going to do at times. And so I want to see us do that to Buffalo as well. And then the last key to the game, I believe he has 4 rushing touchdowns already this season. Josh Allen, their version of Cam Newton, but younger, still in his best shape of his career, probably only going to get in better shape at this point. Josh Allen is extremely good in the run game, and Seattle has struggled with mobile quarterbacks at times, so I need to see us contain Josh Allen defensively. Let's flip the script now. Asher, let's go to you. What would be your keys for a Seahawks victory?
Pretty much do the same game plan as when you went into San Francisco. Just have Russ cook. The mistakes were few and far between in that game. The penalties were few and far between. He was able to find DK, able to get DJ Dallas, third stringer, able to let him do some good things. And I think, like you said, keying in on Josh Allen, making sure he doesn't able to scramble. He's kind of like Lamar. He's not quite like Lamar Jackson in the running game, but he does have the ability to get out and scramble and pick up a first down and get 10 or 12 yards on any given play. So being able to keep him and Stephon Diggs in check, because Stephon Diggs is still top 5 in receiving yards in the league. So being able to find their weapons and key in on that will be key. And I think having Jamal Adams back will definitely help with that as well, given how he still is the league leader or the team leader in sacks for Seattle.
Right. Alton Robinson with the sack in the game. Bobby Wagner with 2. As you mentioned, Jamal still tied for first. Also, partially, Benson Mayo didn't play, and that was another key inactive in that game that I forgot to mention. So thank you for bringing that up, Asher. Aaron, let's go to you. What are your keys for a Seahawks victory at Buffalo?
I think a key would have Jamal Adams be coming back would be huge. So, I mean, this is a little bit weird, but I'm not off topic per se. How long do we know if Carlos Hyde and Chris Carson are out?
They're 50-50 pretty much every week. They had a chance to play last week, I believe.
Okay.
I think it's a game day decision for both.
Okay. It is a game day decision. Okay. So, I mean, and if the run game's feeling up to it, I mean, if Chris Carson coming back would be huge also. But, I mean, since that's not guaranteed, DJ Dallas needs to have a great game against Buffalo because, like you said, Noah, Buffalo's rush defense is not very good. And so I think this gives DJ Dallas an opportunity to prove himself and get that 100-yard game with a couple of touchdowns. You know, I feel like that would be huge for the Seahawks offense as long as well as, you know, keeping DK and Tyler Lockett open because, you know, if one's covered, you go to the other, like I said earlier, because that's what the game plan's been throughout the entire course of the season is if you don't have Tyler Lockett, you throw to DK. If you don't have DK, you throw to Tyler. And it's been working because we're 6-1. And so that's going to be huge. And like you also said, Noah, containing Josh Allen is going to be a massive challenge for our defense, I feel like, if Jamal Adams is not there because, you know, like you said, he's got some speed for a mobile quarterback and he's big. And being as tall as he is, he can see over defenders way easier than Russell Wilson can. And being able to throw the ball to see people who are open easier than Russ can is going to be a huge problem for our Seattle defense. And because we're used to, like, lately we've been playing against quarterbacks who are not very mobile. And so, besides Kyler Murray. But Kyler Murray is also about as tall as Russell Wilson. So having a tall, mobile quarterback, I think is going to be a challenge. But containing him will be the key to us winning.
I really like your guys' keys to the game. I definitely agree with both of you. Real quick, Aaron, our residential election expert, could you give us a little update on how things are stacking up in the presidential debate?
Yeah, so the next
election, excuse me.
The election, yeah. So the next polls close in 40 minutes at 7 o'clock. Right now, you need 270 electoral votes to win. Biden's up 80-51 against Trump right now.
Okay. Well, we are very unbiased on this show, but we are very grateful and proud of everyone who voted. Easily one of the most important elections of our lifetime. Let's get back now. And time to pat the back of Mr. Asher Lined. Asher, your team, undefeated, still beats the Baltimore Ravens after getting pretty ramrodded throughout the majority of the game. Somehow finds a way to win the game.
That is one way to put it.
On the offense, just struggling all throughout the game. Gets outgained, out time of possession. Baltimore threw a pick six on the first drive, and then after that, seemingly dominated Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh in the second half, very very well done. Just the comeback in general shows how much these guys believe in Mike Tomlin. Credit to Mike Tomlin, credit to Big Ben leading this beautiful comeback. And Pittsburgh comes out victorious once again. Just win, baby. The old Oakland Raiders mantra applies to the Steelers right now. Congratulations on being the last team undefeated. We'll rank our teams in a minute. But Asher, I wanted to get your thoughts and your takeaways from a huge victory against your division rival, Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, this was definitely my scariest matchup, or the one I was scared of the most coming into this game, because we played a bunch of very few win teams, and we have that coming up. We have Dallas, Cincinnati, and Jacksonville. They have a combined 5 wins between the 3. And so I think if you're Pittsburgh, you should try to get to 10-0, because if you lose to any of those, people are going to criticize the Steelers, be like, oh, yeah, they're not a real contender if they lose. Because let's be real, the Cowboys next week, I really hate to say this, but there's a little superstition in me that says the Cowboys might find a way to somehow lose, or the Steelers might find a way to lose to Dallas, because we love to find awful ways to lose games. The Steelers are bound to lose. I don't think they're going 16-0. The Cowboys are bound to win at some point.
DiNucci.
I don't know. I'm going to knock on wood. I don't think the Steelers are that bad to blow a game like that. But no, going back to the Baltimore game, though, they were outgained by more than 200 yards, but their defense is honestly what won the game. They forced Lamar into a lot of mistakes. Devin Bush's backup, Spillane, had the pick 6 on the first drive. He's looking like a really good fill-in while Bush is out for the year. We got 4 sacks, 2 picks, one of them that pick 6, and 2 fumble recoveries. That's all you can. That's about as much as you can ask for on a defense. And then offense, a lot of people were wondering if Chase Claypool would ever come back. Ends up catching the go-ahead touchdown from Ben in the 4th quarter, and then Minkah Fitzpatrick, who a lot of people were criticizing, when is he going to make a play, seals it at the very end. That was a really good pass by Lamar, to give him credit, but Minkah able to read that come in and just swat it away to call game there. Defense and Steelers undefeated, man. I love to hear it. Yeah, I don't get to say that a lot, but it's gonna be good. I have a lot of people. I thought this was gonna be a down year for the Steelers. I remember Colin Cowherd, one of them, thinking the Steelers would go 7-9, I think is what he had. And then he had Baltimore going 16-0 too.
Right.
So, I mean, hypothetically, I guess the Steelers could lose 9 in a row and he wouldn't look as crazy. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Colin Cowherd would be a genius if he called them going 7-9 and the Steelers losing 9 games in a row.
Yeah.
The odds of that are slim to none.
He would win a lot of money if that came out to be right. Holy cow.
It'd be even better if he was sticking with his guns right now, but let's be honest, he's not. And rightfully so, because look, your Steelers have looked extremely impressive. I've been extremely impressed with this defense. Last week, I ranked them 3 behind Baltimore because I needed to see them beat Baltimore, even though I predicted them to beat Baltimore. It was a 1-point spread. No, it was a 4-point spread for Baltimore, and I said Pittsburgh was going to win the game. Agreeing with you guys, I think we all agreed that Pittsburgh was going to be victorious. And Pittsburgh just impressive through and through. The way that Big Ben has come back after all the offseason rumors about how he's so out of shape. He's never been the guy that's the hard worker, the in shape, and can play later on in his career. He's getting old. He's getting up there. He grew out the beard for some time, and he's gone through some injuries, and yet he's found a way to bounce back and remain undefeated atop the AFC. Truly just shows how bad Big Ben has been waiting for Brady to leave the AFC and for the Patriots dynasty to finally stop ending the Steelers' hopes. Let's go to you, Aaron, for your takeaways from the Steelers' dominant victory to maintain as the final team undefeated in the NFL.
Dominant.
Dominant.
That wasn't a dominant victory. They squeaked by on that win.
Establishing. Impressive victory.
No, it wasn't even impressive.
There's a couple adjectives that come.
It was an impressive beating the Baltimore Ravens, former NFL MVP. The way that they contain Lamar Jackson at times.
I mean, okay, sure. I'm impressed by their defense, I guess, but I mean, it's a win the Steelers needed and they got it. So like, I don't know, dude. I mean,
reminded me a lot of the Tennessee game. I feel like because if Minkah makes a bad read, or if Lamar throws out maybe a second earlier, he might have caught that. Ravens could have won, or if Gostkowski makes that field goal, they go to overtime, and I don't like our odds against Derrick Henry because we know what he's able to do to anyone.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, Big Ben threw for 182. Those are low numbers. That's not crazy impressive. And okay, scoring 14 points in the third quarter, that's good, and holding the Ravens to nothing in the third quarter, that's huge. And then, because Baltimore was up 17-0 or 17-7 at halftime. And having that, come in clutch for them is huge, I feel like. I mean, James Conner rushing for 47 yards and a touchdown. That's good. James Conner that's helpful. Juju Smith having 67 yards, but no touchdowns is kind of shocking to me. But I mean, I guess Ebron and Claypool both got their share for receiving touchdowns. But seeing that Claypool and Big Ben and Marquise Pouncey all fumbled the ball, that's kind of scary a little bit.
There were a few scary moments.
Yeah.
That's part of me is worried about going into Dallas because Ezekiel Elliott is the top tier running back, and we gave up 113 yards to J.K. Dobbins against Baltimore. So that makes me wonder,
I was going to say,
Elliott going to do? Because I saw on Twitter they might have to go to their practice squad to bring for quarterback if they don't start Ben DiNucci.
Mm-hmm. And and Baltimore had 265 rushing yards. Like, Jesus, that's a lot of rushing yards, especially for an undefeated team like the Steelers. Because
that's the top. Those are some good numbers too. And if Dallas is gonna go to their practice squad, I feel like their game plan going in is gonna take advantage of our weaker run defense.
Definitely,
He's able to do whatever he wants.
That's definitely what's gonna happen. I mean,
no. Plot twist, man. You guys got me defending the Steelers. What's going on here? J.K. Dobbins is an elite threat. First of all, a phenomenal running back. I was one of the advocates. We weren't doing the show at the time, but coming out of the draft out of O State, I was one of the biggest advocates of J.K. Dobbins. He's a very, very phenomenal athlete. And the biggest difference between J.K. and Zeke in this game is the person handing them the football. And you talk about Lamar Jackson and the amount of attention that he demands from a defense in comparison to Ben DiNucci, who just got embarrassed on primetime and should not be a starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys right now. Lamar Jackson is the reason that J.K. Dobbins was so successful in that game, and whereas the Cowboys, I believe, are one-dimensional, and I don't believe they're going to be successful because of it.
That's definitely true, and I don't want to take credit away from J.K. Dobbins because I also think he's a very capable running back, and the way Dallas is right now with Andy Dalton being gone with COVID, and I don't know who they're going to be, who their quarterback's going to be. It's going to be Ezekiel Elliott drawing a lot of attention from the Steelers, and that may or may not lead to them keying in on him a little more. Maybe they can get their run defense all tightened up before that game on Sunday. But you're definitely right. J.K. Dobbins is a good running back, and I won't take credit away from that.
Aaron?
I mean, he's right. Like, I agree with everything that Asher said. I'm a little skeptical going in and playing. I haven't really thought about all that much until you brought up the fact that, until I see the fact that the Baltimore had 265 yards with their running backs. But Ezekiel Elliott, I feel like, is better than J.K. Dobbins.
I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree.
Right. And so and so what I'm saying is that if Lamar also rushes for 65 yards like he did against the Steelers, that's going to be huge. And I guess they don't have Dak, but I just don't think.
I think this is a trap game. I could see, because Pittsburgh's coming off their most important game of the year. They're looking at their next 3 games. Asher, you pointed it out. Very good point. I was going to bring this up later on when we do our rankings. Their next 3 games: at Dallas, versus Cincinnati, at Jacksonville. Talk about a cupcake walk. That's going to be 3 easy games if you guys keep playing the way that you're playing. But as we've seen early on in the season, sometimes you guys play to your opponents. That's the only reason that I'm concerned about this game. If you guys play anything up to what you're capable of, you guys are clearly a much better team. I've been extremely impressed with the coaching, specifically by Mike Tomlin, how you guys have rallied together, and your defense has been so solid together. Very impressive are the Pittsburgh Steelers. Anything else you guys want to add to that?
I want to add one thing. I'm also really impressed also because Mike Tomlin is a phenomenal coach, all-time Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Can't convince me otherwise. But the front office, being able to go out and make another trade. They got Avery Williamson from the Jets after that game. I think that's a phenomenal trade. He's already got looked it up. He's got 59 total tackles on the year already and an interception. I don't remember the split on solo and assists, but they gave up next to nothing for him. We got a 7th round pick and Avery Williamson for a 5th round pick. We didn't have to get rid of any personnel, didn't have to change any schemes up, and yet we're bringing someone in that can help replace Devin Bush, get Spillane off the field on 2nd or 3rd down, give him a couple breathers, and bring in a guy who's definitely capable of making plays, getting to the quarterback, picking it up, pick the ball, intercept it if you need to. I think it was a phenomenal trade. It's kind of like the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade, because Minkah was on one of the worst teams, the Dolphins, last year. Dolphins were, I'd call them bottom feeders last year. Dolphins are a little better now. And now look at Minkah. Minkah's thriving on this team. He's making all the right plays. And what do? We go to one of the worst teams, say, hey, we like this guy. We'll take him. We'll give you a pick for him. And what do? They agree to it. And I think Williamson's going to make a big impact.
I think that'll be helpful against Ezekiel, too. Will he be able to play against Zeke? Is that...
He might be.
I don't know the exact regulations because they traded for him yesterday, and so I think you have to wait. I think it might be 7 days, so he might not be able to play again.
Oh, dang, it's a bummer. Okay.
But when he's able to get through regulations and protocols and whatnot, I think he's going to make a big impact.
Right. Yeah.
I completely agree. I'm sorry, Aaron. Did you have something?
No. I was just going like, cool. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Avery agrees.
Williamson was one of my Madden players last year, and he's just a dynamic playmaker, underrated especially. He gets lost in the sea of sadness that is the New York football franchise of the Jets and the Giants, but we're talking about the Jets right now, and Avery Williamson, I think, is going to have a much bigger impact in Pittsburgh. I'm super excited for you, my friend Asher. Let's shift now, and let's make our top 7 power rankings updated for this week. There's been a shakeup, ladies and gentlemen, upon my top 7. I'm sure the same will be with your guys's. Super excited to talk about. Let's without further ado, let's get started. The number 7 team on my list this week, the Las Vegas Raiders. They beat Kansas City. They beat New Orleans. They beat Cleveland, and they beat Carolina. Yes, they got beat by Tampa Bay. Yes, they don't have the best record. Yes, they have a worse record than the Indianapolis Colts right now, but the Indianapolis Colts are fake to me. Derek Carr is working with John Gruden as of right now. They are explosive. Henry Ruggs has been playing phenomenal for these guys. They have weapons offensively. Josh Jacobs, who they got from Khalil Mack, and Henry Ruggs, who we just discussed, Darren Waller. These Las Vegas Raiders belong on the top 7, at least for right now, considering I don't put Seahawks on my top 7. Let's go to you, Aaron.
Wait, you don't have the Seahawks in your top 7 right now?
We've been over this. It's superstition.
Right. You're right.
It's bad luck. It's bad luck.
My number 7 is Arizona right now, because still 5-2. It's a huge win against Seattle last week, or the week before, excuse me. And I think Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins are a dynamic duo, and they're just going to continue to dominate whoever teams they play against, along with being second in the NFC West for the rest of the season.
Asher.
I also have Arizona at number 7. I think I had him in my top 7 last week because last week I've been saying since week 1 of the show, I think Arizona is the biggest threat to Seattle. And I think this week is just strengthening my case. San Francisco loses to Seattle. Arizona getting ready for their next game against the Dolphins, which I think will be a really good game because Dolphins have won 3 in a row. Tua starting to make some noise in the league. Kyler and DeAndre getting a week's rest to prepare for that. I think Arizona. I don't want to put them any higher, but if Kyler and DeAndre are able to get some wins, because their next few games are going to be challenging. Dolphins, Bills, Seahawks again, Patriots, Rams. So they've got a really tough schedule coming up, and they have some chance. They have a couple good opportunities to make a message to the league, like tell people, hey, we're for real, because the Cardinals haven't really been much of a playoff contender the last few years, and this year they definitely have a chance.
Yeah, no question about it. I like your guys' Cardinals picks because that's actually my number 6 team. Look, they've already beaten Seattle and San Francisco. They're undefeated within the division as of right now. They have 2 embarrassing losses, but one could point that to, I guess, not not taking a team seriously that they're going up against, the Carolina Panthers and the Detroit Lions. Considering you beat the Seahawks and the Niners, I don't know what business you have losing to those teams. We'll see what they're able to do during that stretch. Asher, I like that point. I think this is going to be very telling as to who the Cardinals really are this week. Both the Dolphins and the Cardinals 3-game winning streaks. One is coming to an end. Last week felt more like a fluky victory for the Miami Dolphins because of how bad Jared Cough it up was in comparison to the Arizona Cardinals, who are coming off their most impressive victory of the year over the Seahawks in overtime and a bye. So I think the odds favor Arizona in this ball game, but I definitely agree it's going to be a good game. Arizona number 6 on my list. Aaron, who's your number 6?
I've had the Buccaneers at number 6 for like 3 weeks in a row, and I'm still keeping them there just because they're starting to come a little consistent for the most part. I mean, they're 6-2. They have they're 3-0 at home. Tom Brady is really starting to pick up his whole. I think it's Tampa Bay at this point. I mean, he's thriving. Gronk's thriving, and seeing his wide receivers are thriving as well. I mean, Mike Evans is just an absolute stud, and having him as a target for Tom Brady is huge. Just because Tom went from having Julian Edelman, and then now he's got Mike Evans, which I think they're both great wide receivers, and so I think that's helpful for him. And I think Tampa Bay is definitely a playoff team, but I'm not putting them in higher than number 6.
Mike Evans, Gronkowski, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown now. Just crazy.
Yeah, that's right. AB, dude, it's going to be really hard defending those wide receivers here in a couple weeks.
He's playing Sunday night here for Tampa as they face off against the New Orleans Saints in Tampa Bay this time, a rematch game. That is going to be the definition of primetime television. I can't wait for it.
I got chills just thinking about that game, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm so excited for that. It's gonna be good.
You love to see it. Asher, let's go to you. What is your number 6 team on your power rankings?
I put Buffalo at 6. I like where they're at right now. They're at the top of the East. Josh Allen is still playing really well. He's getting 300 yards a game. He has a 102 passer rating. He's got a fairly favorable matchup against that Seattle defense we were talking about. If they're able to key on him, then we'll see what happens, but if he's able to do what we all know he can do, he'll be able to scramble, find Stephon Diggs, top 5 in receiving, like I said earlier. They're top of the division. And New England falling off the tracks a little is definitely giving the Bills a lot of momentum because I think it's their division to lose at this point, given how far ahead they are of New England and Miami. So I like the Bills at 6.
I agree with your ranking. I also put Buffalo right in front of Arizona as my number 5 team. They beat Miami, New England, the Rams, and the Raiders already this season. 4 somewhat impressive victories, to say the least. But I cannot wait. One of those games is coming up here shortly. We talked about it a moment ago. I think you brought it up, Asher. Cardinals, Bills. Think about that. 2 mobile quarterbacks, young quarterbacks, lots to prove for these 2 guys. I'd almost give the edge to the Cardinals because I like their quarterback a little bit more, but both of these teams 100% have a chance in that game. It's going to be a good one coming up. I agree. I have the Bills 5 on my list, right in front of the Cardinals. Aaron, what's your number 5 team?
I also have Buffalo down number 5, just for the same reason. I just wanted to be like you a little bit, But
we're wearing the same shirt, like.
Yeah, I mean we kind of are, but Asher's over here with the plaid, checkered action going on.
He doesn't love us.
Plaid's the way to go. I'm telling you,
dude.
We should have put him in the middle.
Next time we can do that. Of course you would, Asher. Bills are top of the AFC East, 6-2. Josh Allen's doing a phenomenal job, and I just think that it's hard to not like the Bills for being like in my top 5 every week. Stephon Diggs is having a phenomenal year with almost 700 yards. Josh Allen's thrown for 2,100 yards already, which is kind of crazy as well. We're only going into week 9. We're going into week 8. We're going into week 8. So I mean, he's doing a great job, and I just think that the Bills are also a playoff contending team, and that's where I think they deserve to be right now.
Asher,
for number 5.
Yeah, your number 5 team.
So this might be a little weird because they just lost, but the way the Ravens offense played against the Steelers, against a really good Steelers defense, has me at number 5. Yeah, they lost, but they were able to outgain Pittsburgh by think it was more than 200 yards or something like that. And Lamar and J.K. and all those receivers, I like them moving forward. I don't know if they'll be able to hang with Pittsburgh, given how they've played. And it was an off day for Lamar. He made probably more mistakes than most other games he'll play in his career, I think. I talked about earlier the 2 interceptions, fumble recoveries, 4 sacks. Granted, Pittsburgh's pass rush is probably top 2 or 3 in the league, if not the best. We've all talked about the stats of Pittsburgh these last few weeks, but the way they were able to run it against Pittsburgh, and the way Lamar was able to have a few highlights in that game, I like Ravens at 5, even though they just lost. But they have a chance to make up for that going forward these next few weeks.
Asher, man, I love your predictions so much that we maintain our lockstep rankings of teams. I put Baltimore number 4 on my list. Very unimpressive how they found a way to lose that game. That Big Ben only had 182 yards, and Lamar has something to prove. There are a lot of question marks about Lamar Jackson the year after his MVP season. It's the Madden curse all over again. And the question with Lamar, can he win the game that he trails in? Can he win the game that he has a whole bunch of turnovers? And both of those right now are a no. Will he be able to turn that around? We will find out shortly. But Baltimore Ravens, number 4 on my list for right now. Aaron, let's go to you. What is your number 4 team?
I got Tennessee at number 4 on my list, just because the Titans are still dominant to me. I feel like. I'm looking at the stats right here. Tennessee is leading the AFC South at 5-2. I mean, guaranteed the Colts are right behind them, and their division is a joke. Houston Texans are 1-6, along with the Jaguars, who are also 1-6. Rip Gardner Minshew. But I just think Derrick Henry is still the best active running back right now, and he's one of the main reasons I have Tennessee in my top 4, just because he's an absolute stud on the football field, and he continues to just dominate whoever comes in contact with him. With 775 rushing yards, are you joking this year so far? It's insane. And Ryan Tannehill, old quarterback, he's been in the league for a while now, right? I mean, I'm surprised to see how decent he's doing on the Titans. I mean,
same draft as Russell Wilson.
Really?
Yeah.
No way. Okay, I honest to God didn't know that.
It's okay.
Wow.
2012. He's not that
Dang,
old.
I feel old. I feel old now because ever since I can remember, Tannehill's been in the league. I mean, okay. Anyways, sorry. Wow, I'm embarrassed.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
No worries.
It's just Derrick Henry is my reason they're at number 4.
See, Tennessee confuses me, and that people were asking us, and I have to take a shot at Tennessee here. They they announced they're releasing Vic Beasley tomorrow. People questioned for Seattle if Seattle was had such a bad pass rush this year because we didn't go back and bring in Jadeveon Clowney. Well, the Tennessee Titans have no pass rush this year. They are tied for like 3rd to last in the NFL, if not 2nd to last in terms of sacks on the year. I believe they only have 9 right now, which is what we had last week. So Tennessee's doing even worse in the sack department than us, and they brought in Vic Beasley and Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney clearly not the answer for Seattle. Mm-hmm. And Tennessee is struggling.
Also, though, losing to the Bengals is embarrassing.
And they're your number 4 team. We didn't bring them up.
I'm not saying that.
They're
I'm
not
just
on
saying
my top 7.
It's an embarrassing loss, but Derrick Henry keeps it up there for me.
Right,
you need Derrick Henry to get about 150
and I
yards a game.
stand by my statement. I stand by it. I respect you for standing by, but losing to the Bengals they lost by double digits. They lost 2 in a row.
According to you, Ryan Tannehill's in a retirement home. Like,
but one of those losses was the Steelers.
Granted, that loss could have gone either way if Gronkowski makes a field goal. But losing by double digits to a rookie quarterback.
Listen. Every team has their off week.
Zach Stacy.
Every team has their off week, and losing to the Bengals by 11 points was their off week. They're gonna just do better. They're gonna be fine from now on.
They can't do much worse.
Exactly.
They should.
Double digits
I think they're
to a
still
4th
top.
place
I
team.
think they're still top 10, but having them number 4 might be.
It might be a little bit of a stretch. I agree, but I'm just Stand by it. Next week, it'll
They
most
can get
likely
a
be different.
couple back-to-back wins and make up for those. I think they'll get some momentum. But while we're on this game, Joe Burrow has almost 2,300 passing yards this year, and he's a rookie. I just wanted to point that out. Wow, he's good.
Yeah,
That's very.
Hey, the good news is we do not drug test this panel, so you're good, Aaron. Don't even worry about it. Let's go to you, Asher, for your number 4 team on your power rankings.
Last week I was talking about how how Seattle's loss to Arizona made me question them a little bit, and I was like, hey, I need them to come back, get a bounce back win. That's exactly what they did. Their offense has me putting Seattle at number 4. Carson's first in touchdowns and passer rating. He's 3rd in the league in yards per game and completion percentage. He's looking really good. Their defense able to step up a little. They're getting guys back. They have a very, very small lead on Arizona for the top of the division. They have some really, really fun games. I think we're all excited for coming up. That Bills game next week is going to be really good. But Seattle's offense is just clicking on all cylinders right now, and I think their defense, like we were talking about last week and the week before, it's their defense that needs to pick it up. We were talking about it last week. Those 470 yards a game, like that's got to change. And having Jamal Adams and Carlos Dunlap will definitely bring that down, I think. And so I'll put Seattle at 4. I was impressed with their offense and defense for that matter.
I will accept your ranking, Asher. 4th, I will accept this notion, at least for now.
For now. I have to be a little different than you.
Well, I don't even have them on my list. We'll see how different it is, because your number 3 team could be my number 3 team. My number 3 team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not as low on them as Aaron. Look, Tampa beat Green Bay into the ground with a stick. They beat the Las Vegas Raiders into the ground with a stick. This team blows teams out, and they're not front runners either. When they trail in games, they're competitive. They're just losing close games, close good games, like the Seahawks lose. But Tampa Bay has a huge matchup this week on Sunday Night Football at home versus the New Orleans Saints, and it's a game where they could really get the reins on control of the division in the NFC South if they're able to come away with the victory. Tampa Bay, a Super Bowl contender without question, and they are hosting the Super Bowl this year with about 12,000 fans, I believe it's going to be. We'll figure that out down the stretch. But for now, I have Tampa Bay number 3 on my list. Very impressed with what they've been able to do so far. Aaron, your number 3 team, please.
Yeah. I got Kansas City at number 3. And I've had them at number 3 for a while, just because it's Patrick Mahomes is a god among men. He's a great quarterback. Travis Kelce is leading his team in reception yards, and he's a tight end. Like, that's nuts to me, you know. Travis Kelce putting up wide receiver numbers. It's crazy. It's like good for him. I love Travis Kelce. He's a great tight end. Tight ends are just incredibly key in a good offense, right? And Kelce is the epitome of the gold standard tight end. Patrick Mahomes is doing his thing with 2,300 passing yards. You know, he's Super Bowl MVP, and he's just a stud. 10-year contract for $500 million. Worth his money, good investment. Tyreek Hill is doing good as well, and their defense is doing all right too. And so I think that keeping them at number 3 is good, because I think they have the potential to go back to the Super Bowl.
Asher, your number 3 team, please.
Remember how you just said my number 3 team could be your number 3 team?
No way.
It is.
Yes.
It is. I'm not as low on Tampa Bay either. You said it yourself, Noah, just now. Tight end is key in an offense, in a great offense, and that with Gronk coming back, him and Tom Brady broke or second now for most touchdowns in a duo, and with him coming back, looking to his old New England days, I like where they're going. They're starting to get a little more physical. It was too close of a win against a team like the Giants, I'll admit, but the way Tom Brady and Gronk look right now, I think they're one of the better teams. I'll put them top 3. I'm not gonna doubt Tom Brady, because we all know what he can do.
Now, this is where things might get a little dicey between me and Asher. Despite them being the last undefeated team in the NFL,
I know.
my number 2 team.
I can't even blame you.
It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. I love Pittsburgh. Not like as a fan, but like from what I've seen this year, watching great football. They've been playing great football. And
as a football fan, a lot of people should be impressed with the Steelers right now. I'm not even saying that as a Steelers fan myself. I'll admit that. But like for anyone who watched the NFL, watching that Steelers defense, oh my goodness, it's one of the best defenses we've had in a long time.
Tomlin easily a candidate for Coach of the Year, rightfully so.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And he's one of those guys. He might have deserved it many years that he never got the award. Mike Tomlin's done an incredible job. They beat Tennessee. They beat Baltimore. Like you said, they should go 10-0 before their first loss, potentially versus the Ravens at home. The Ravens got to prove themselves in that game. Pittsburgh's not going to have the pressure in that one, and they should have a firm grasp of this division. Firmly grasp it. That's what Pittsburgh needs to do in that game, and I think they're going to be able to do it.
You did not.
The SpongeBob reference. Let's go to you.
Firmly grasp it.
Firmly grasp it. All right, Aaron, let's go to you. What is your number 2 team on your power rankings?
I got Seattle, number 2. For obvious reasons. Russell Wilson's cooking. DK Metcalf's a stud. Tyler Lockett's a stud. Our defense is crap, but with Jamal Adams and Dunlap coming in, we're going to be able to hopefully cut at least 25% of those yards that we're giving up a game off, right? I want to see if we can keep it to 300 yards a game or 350 yards a game. That's going to be a massive improvement, and that's going to be the reason we win the Super Bowl.
A massive improvement from 470 yards per game.
Dude, you're still cutting in half by 25%.
It is. I'm not saying you're wrong, but when you say giving up 350 is an improvement, that's how you know.
Exactly. No, you're totally right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, 350 doesn't sound so bad to me.
It's not to me either, bro.
Asher, let's go to you for your number 2 team.
So this one will probably be obvious. Chiefs at 2. In this, I really wish you could intermix them in my number 1. I feel like it's kind of obvious at this point. The only thing I wish is that they played during the regular season,
right?
Because I think their schedules definitely have a lot to do with them. Because we say, oh, Kansas City is better. What's the best way to prove that theory? Have them play the Steelers,
Exactly.
So that's my only downside. But Mahomes with 5 touchdowns and no picks. Chiefs have the best turnover differential in the league. They're second in points per game with about 31. I can't name 2 teams better than the Chiefs. And maybe next week I won't be able to name 1 team better than the Chiefs, depending on how the Steelers look in the next few weeks. And I really wish it's a game of inches, like I said last week. Like they're probably CBS, NFL, ESPN could put the Steelers at 1, and then 3 other major sports networks could put the Chiefs at number 1. Like they're both playing some really good football right now, and the fact that the Steelers are undefeated gives them a little more credit than I think people say. But there's definitely some argument for putting the Chiefs at 1, and I do see that.
And so all due respect, I can see putting the Steelers number 1. I heavily considered it, but Kansas City to me just has the more impressive resume to this point, beating Baltimore, beating Buffalo, beating New England, and just Kansas City.
Hey, Squabble, I'm sorry. One quick interruption. Do you guys want a quick little election break just before we get to number 1? Because I know Kansas City's your number 1, right? Isn't that what you were about to go off and say?
No, something like that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So Biden's up 89-72 to Trump now. So Trump's kind of creeping his way back up there a little bit.
Slithered up
quick
on
little
him.
break.
I appreciate it, Aaron. Our presidential election.
There we go. Yeah. President. I like that.
Big state coming soon.
Look, I got Kansas City number 1 on my list. Impressive resume. I just feel like they're not even all the way on the gas right now because of the fact, and I also feel like that's part of the reason they lost to the Raiders. It's because of the fact that they feel like at any week, and no matter what the deficit, no matter what the score, they can beat anybody. And I believe that too. They haven't been making Pat Mahomes eat everyone up in the air. That's why he only has 1 pick on the year. And that's why the rushing attack has been so powerful to this point, because of the fact that they've been dominating the games that they've been playing quite often. So Kansas City number 1 on my list. Aaron.
I got Pittsburgh at number 1 on my list for, the obvious reasons. Their defense is playing incredible. They're undefeated. Ben Roethlisberger is looking somewhat young again. Chase Claypool is going to get Rookie of the Year. Juju Smith-Schuster is catching balls left and right. And Connor's doing a great job running the ball. So, yeah.
Great points. Asher, number 1.
So I would agree with all of Aaron's points except the Rookie of the Year. As much as I love Claypool, I'm not sure if he can beat Joe Burrow for Rookie of the Year. I'll say that much. It would be close, and Justin Herbert is also playing well too. But I do agree with you. I think Claypool is having a really good rookie season. He got the game-winning touchdown. He had those 4 against the Eagles. Like, we all know what they're capable of, and I'll admit it. You could put, I'm sure some people could put the Steelers as far down as 3 or 4, and I could totally see arguments for that. You know, they're winning these really close games, like one mistake or one good field goal from Gostkowski or one catch from Boykin, or not Boykin, or one good throw from Lamar could have the Steelers at 5-2. You know what I'm saying?
One less bad one.
Exactly, and they are undefeated, and their defense is still top 1 or 2 in the league. And so, as long as they're undefeated, I'll put them number 1. And I really wish they played Kansas City so I could prove this even more, that they could beat a Kansas City, because they could beat a Baltimore. I think if they played Kansas City right now, both teams put up at least 30 points. No way those offenses don't, I don't think. Because given
incredible.
How the defenses are, given how great Patrick Mahomes is, given how lethal Claypool, Ebron, Schuster, James Conner are all playing right now, and how their defense is, I just really wish they played. That's all I'm gonna say. But I'll put Steelers at 1. Maybe they'll meet in the AFC Chipper. That'd be a great game.
I could 100% see them meeting in the playoffs. I think it'd be a great matchup. Real quick, guys, it's pretty much time to go here. Can we agree college football playoff top 4 teams? Clemson, Bama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, or do we have Georgia sneaking in there? Do you guys like Cincy? What are your top 4
I got
teams?
your 4, right? I got the 4 yesterday. I don't think Georgia's offense is good enough to make a playoff run. They scored 14 points against Kentucky. They scored 5 points in the first half against Arkansas. Really weird football score, but either way, I think Georgia's first one out. They have some weapons, I'll admit, but the way Alabama is playing, the way Clemson's playing, Ohio State now starting to look good after they get going. They beat Penn State handily. I think Notre Dame finally having a conference schedule gives them a lot of momentum, because I think that's one of, we can have this argument later, but they should just stay in the ACC forever. I don't like the idea of schools, but
completely
anyway,
agree.
I like those 4. Alabama, or Clemson at 1, depending on how long Trevor Lawrence is out. Notre Dame, Ohio State.
Okay. Aaron.
I don't have Notre Dame going to the playoffs. I got Bam. No, I got Cincinnati.
Ooh.
I got Cincy up there. They're making me excited. I like seeing them. I like seeing them with the number 6 spot. That doesn't happen very often.
I like it too.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be Bama, Clemson, Cincinnati, Ohio State. Or Ohio State, Cincinnati, in that order, I guess.
That would be an awesome playoffs.
It would be so great. Seeing Bama play Cincinnati, bro, that'd be hype. Oh, my goodness.
I like if not Notre Dame for me, I like Clemson, Bama, Ohio State, Wazoo, Washington State University. Cougars are coming for it. The Rolo train, Coach of the Year. I'm pulling for it right now.
We're going 2-4. We're going 2-4. We're not going to the playoffs.
People are projecting even worse than that, like 1-5. There was something I saw from Theo Lawson in the Spokesman Review, like, someone picked the Cougs to win 1 game, and it was the Apple Cup. And why did they pick the Cougs to win? Because it's 2020.
Wow.
He's got
that was literally their reasoning.
He's got a great point.
Win an Apple Cup, but it's 2020, so we'll give them this win because nothing's
got a point.
It's sad, but who knows?
We accept those. I will happily take the Apple Cup if it takes 2020 to bring it to us. All right, guys, that is the end of the show. That is the end of the show. We are out of time. Real quick, if you want to just throw out your handles, Aaron, let's go to you. Social media handles, please.
At Aaron Monson on TikTok, Instagram, at Aaron__Monson on Twitter. Yeah, that's basically it.
Asher.
Asher Line on everything. I'm starting to post Rocket League highlights on TikTok. I have some
nasty
really good
ones too. I was impressed.
Dude, you saw that? Thanks. I'm trying to get some good ones. I'm trying to get good.
All right, and then I'm at DJ Squabo, SQUABO on YouTube and on Instagram. Thank you all for watching. As always, this has been your home for Seahawks and Cougar coverage on YouTube and on KUGR, Unorthodox Sports.